Welcome back to Coffee with Yvonne, a show for creatives and entrepreneurs. I'm Yvonne Pearson, your host and the founder of Pink Dollhouse Marketing. And this week on the show, we're going to be doing another marketing magic session. Why did I almost say summit? Like I was at a conference. I mean, that could be the universe trying to tell me something, but not right now. Anyway, on this week's show, we're going to dive deep into our topics for the week. And if you see me looking down at my screen, just know if you're new here, I bring notes to the conversation and receipts to make sure that I am giving you a thorough assessment of what we're talking about, as well as my marketing takeaways from the topic. So first up, we have Empowering Entrepreneurs, TikTok and Black Girl Ventures collaboration, Fashion Meets Culture with the Gap's Bold Collection with Harlem's Fashion Row, Magical Scents with Bath and Body Works, who unveiled the Disney Princess Collection, and finally, from Beats to Bites, Heinz and DJ Mustard, Mustard! Flavorful collab. So grab your coffee and let's chat. Okay, I did a sweet cream this week in my coffee. Okay, to add a little razzle dazzle to it. I need to start buying that more. If you want to know what creamer I'm talking about, it's a Chobani sweet vanilla cream, I think it's called. It's in a purple bottle. You can find it next to the iced coffee in your local grocery store or Costco, one of the two. Okay, first up, we have the TikTok and Black Girl Ventures collab. So I pulled this article from People of Color in Tech and a couple blurbs that we're going to go over first. In the article, it says that TikTok has announced the 2025 Soar Together, a Black-owned business accelerator program in collaboration with Black Girl Ventures. The program aims to help Black businesses grow on TikTok Shop. And for those of you who are unfamiliar, TikTok Shop, okay, let's reimagine it. I'm going to put on my elder millennial hat for this one. TikTok Shop is kind of like the new generation's version of QVC. Y'all remember QVC, Home Shopping Network, all the things our aunties and them used to watch on that one television when we had cable, those kind of things. So TikTok Shop initially has taken the concept of QVC and put it into a social media space. And that has literally exploded across the platform. I even admit I have bought something off of TikTok Shop, and it actually ended up being cuter than I thought it would. But TikTok Shop has helped to generate millions of dollars in the creator economy by leveraging creators' platforms to promote TikTok Shop products. And even I was invited to TikTok Shop, but honestly, it's not for me or for my audience, so I chose not to participate. But getting back to the article, in the article, it mentions the 2025 Soar Together program is a 6-week program in which 20 businesses will be chosen to receive educational courses, business coaching, and mentorship from guest speakers. After the program has finished, the businesses will essentially graduate from the program and will also have, additional resources provided to them. More importantly, as noted in the article, Black Girl Ventures was founded in 2016 by Omi Bell, who is a serial entrepreneur and computer scientist. They focus on increasing access to capital for Black and Brown women entrepreneurs. And for a lot of people who don't realize that, why this is so important, if we were to be honest, a lot of Black and women-funded businesses do not receive the same amount of capital as opposed to other businesses who are not led by a person of color or a woman, right? So creating these opportunities are very important in leveraging the space as much as possible and dividing out access to equity and capital more inclusively. So if we were to look at the high level points about this topic, TikTok began their partnership with Black Girl Ventures in 2024. And that is important to note, considering how much certain things around inclusivity are currently under fire right now. Considering that TikTok has continued to keep that partnership is very important. And then This is also a continuation of the commitment on top of a $1 million investment. And while $1 million may seem small in the terms of the bucket that TikTok and other global capitalist ventures have access to, it is also important because it is an investment in the future of small businesses. Black women, honestly, are the leaders in terms of starting businesses in this country, but investing in the future of what this global creator economy and global economy will look like from more of an inclusive space. So looking at my marketing takeaways, I just wanted to, touch on a few high level things. One, like I mentioned before with TikTok Shop, but expanding it a little further, small businesses rely on platforms like TikTok for promotion. There are a lot of businesses I would have never even known had existed if it were not for TikTok. And these businesses essentially are people who are just everyday folks who have a passion, who want to start something to create, generational wealth or opportunities for those in their family or in their community. And using TikTok, they're able to talk to those audiences in a way that is real and authentic to them. There is a business, I cannot think of her name, but she does like a almost like a donut glaze body lotion, right? She has blown up on TikTok Shop and also her TikTok platform, to the point she was, I think, one of the first businesses and also, I think, creators to do $1 million in sales on TikTok live, like on TikTok alone. And that is a big deal because that also shows that platforms like TikTok allow you to authentically tap into your prospective audience and get in front of people you may never have had a chance to get in front of, even if it was with a paid ad or, another sort of promotional advertising. To be honest, social media does leverage the playing field, but the way the algorithms are set up a lot of times, it's really a pay-to-play platform in a lot of spaces now. Outside of TikTok, other platforms that, more historical, I guess we could call them social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram, it's really a pay to play area now. A lot of creators or small businesses can push out content, even pushing out content consistently, and may never get seen by the right audience because the algorithm prioritizes other things over allowing the audience that wants to see those things or actually follows them to actually see their content and engage with it. Another marketing takeaway is providing tools and resources that will not only allow for businesses to build smarter, but also leverage those tools to drive sales on TikTok and other platforms. As I mentioned before, while social media is a great tool, to dive a little bit deeper into that as well, you still need to have the right tools to be able to talk to your audience. It's not just about putting a photo up there and hoping that someone will see it. It's more than that. It's about how do we create engaging content? What hashtags are we using? As much as people try to say hashtags are not important, hashtags are essentially like the SEO or search engine optimization. That's what SEO is of social media. It allows for people to find content that is interesting to them. As I mentioned, with this algorithm, the way it's set up, you may not ever see what you want to see, but hashtags allow for you to search what you're interested in. So learning how to leverage those tools, learning how to build out smart content, learning how to convert those views to sales are very important in the social media space. It's not just about views, it's about engagement, shares, comments on the post. Those are things that let you know that your audience is actually interested in the content that you're putting out. And then finally, in a marketing takeaway, this is more so for TikTok, but outreach-driven initiatives. So outreach is essentially when a company does things that are leveraged in community engagement, right? So like, for example, when a company launches a nonprofit or they're doing like, to put it in like a smaller form, like when your company does like a toy drive or something like that, that is considered outreach. So outreach driven initiatives or campaigns, they drive goodwill reputations for platforms. This can also be used, if I was to put on my marketing strategy hat and a little bit of my business hat, can be used as leverage if any public issues arise. And I know it's like, Yvonne, girl, but don't they want to do goodwill just to do it? Yes. However, it's also noted that this goodwill could be used as a tool in their toolbox. So if itch were to ever hit the fan, they could say, well, no, we've been doing this, that, and the third to help our community. That's not who we are. And that way it can help to change the perspective potentially of how people may view that company due to any sort of fire that may come up with a decision or possible scandal or something like that. Okay, for our next story, fashion meets culture. We're going to talk about the Gap's Bold Collection with Harlem Row. This was pulled from Essence. Essence is, just to let you guys know, as much as I will try to, in terms of finding articles, I try to find articles from publications and media that have more of a broader lens. So you may see me pull things from like Essence, what I just mentioned before, People of Color in Tech, and other platforms that drive a more broad cultural lens around these topics that are not just segmented to meet the needs of one audience. So, Essence, pulling from the article, it notes that Gap and Harlem's Fashion Row have joined forces to release a 16-piece limited edition collaboration featuring the work of 6 Black designers. This is set to launch, it already has actually, during Black History Month, and the collection will reimagine Gap's beloved wardrobe staples, like, you know, the hoodie, the button-down shirt, things like that. Brandon Daniel, the founder of Harlem Fashion Row, he excitedly shared on a video call that the designers who were handpicked were chosen to reinterpret the brand staples in an exciting way. And I think that this is important because if we were to look at it, the Gap, in terms of, we're just going to skip down to our marketing takeaways for this one. The Gap is building on their partnership with Black designers and collectives by showing investment in building equity in the fashion community. As I shared on the last episode about my personal experience working in the fashion industry, there is oftentimes gatekeeping when it comes to the industry. And it doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how viral you went on social media. Oftentimes the gatekeepers, if they say no, it means no, essentially. And that can be trickled down from the business side to it, all the way down to the more outward facing side with, like, you know, designers and also models. But by doing this shows Gap's continued investment in fostering that creativity in a broader space. Also, the first partnership, in my knowledge, to note was with Dapper Dan. Now, if y'all don't know who Dapper Dan is, I need you to go do your homework. Dapper Dan, and I actually met him when I went to Essence in 2019. Me and the college bestie went, and short story, we'll get back to, you know, the important stuff with marketing in a second. But short story, me and the bestie were walking back from, I think we were like walking back from the Superdome or trying to find, you know, something to eat or something, because my bestie a foodie, right? And we stumbled upon, I think it was the As I Am or Shea Butter. No, it was Shea Moisture's pop-up beauty event. And at the time, I looked at her, I was like, hey, do you want to like try to see if we could get in? She's like, sure. So we walk in, we're in this immersive activation. It's not essentially in downtown NOLA. It's like right outside of the downtown NOLA space. And if you've been in NOLA, you know what I'm talking about. There's Bourbon Street, there's, I think Frenchman Street, all the things. And then like right outside of it, it's more like small businesses and things like that in the area. So we walk in, I'm like looking around, I'm seeing all the products, got my little goodie bag, you know, feeling like a little special. I look up, and who do I see? Mother frickin' Dapper Dan. When I tell you the gag that I had for myself, because at the time I was out of the fashion industry. I was trying to figure out, you know, now that I work full time and like at the time tourism marketing, I was trying to figure out who I wanted to be outside of the fashion space. Essentially like trying to figure out my content lens going forward, right? And then I saw Dapper Dan and I was like, oh my gosh, do you know who that is? That's Dapper Dan. And so I waited in line and I got a picture with him, and I gotta find that picture. I think it's somewhere on my socials, but it was just such like a sign from the universe for me at the time to keep going, because Dapper Dan essentially is like a Renaissance man when it comes to fashion. He was someone, and still is, let me put some spec on that man's name. he was someone who, during the time of the birth of hip hop, like we're talking about that the early days of like the Run DMCs, Grandmaster Flex, the OGs of the industry. Dapper Dan was part of that key narrative in building up the story in terms of hip hop culture's style. So to take a step back, Dapper Dan used to take, like, I think it was because I read his book. He used to take garment bags from Louis Vuitton and strip it down and turn it into essentially a fabric for a design for these rappers, for the hustler, the hustlers, this, that, and the other. Because at the time too, our culture was not invited into the luxury space. We were not invited to shop in those stores the same way others were. And just like with everything else, we had to find a creative way of having our little piece of luxury in a space that did not want us to be there. So ateliers like Dapper Dan, seamstresses, etc., have essentially carried the fashion industry for the Black culture for quite a long time. They made something out of nothing by using garment bags, by using, different materials and things like that, and putting their stank on it to make it feel closer to us. Considering the things around intellectual property, I totally get that. However, Dapper Dan, even though he used the material, he was the generator of the idea, right? And trying to take credit for something that wasn't yours and then erase the Black designer or the creative behind it is essentially something that has been happening for quite a long time. And even though Dapper Dan was also too blackballed from a lot of the fashion spaces because he was using their intellectual property to create designs for the hip hop and hustler community, you couldn't stop the hustle. You couldn't stop his work. You couldn't stop his, his genius and creativity. He also had issues with Gucci as well. And he has partnership now with Gucci. And he also has now done work with Gap, reimagining their sweatshirt. I have one too. They changed it to like DAP for Gap or something like that. So instead of GAP, it's DAP on the front. But getting back to our initial topic about the Harlem Fashion World collab with Gap, it was first to note, in my opinion, Dapper Dan was one of their first partnerships that explored that side of Black creativity and designers. So that DAP for Gap collection was launched in 2024 and darn near sold out almost immediately. Like, I could barely get my hands on a hoodie. And again, shout out to the college bestie for sending me the note that, hey, did you know this was happening? Because I didn't see anything on my timeline about it. Gap is currently undergoing a creative renaissance. And with the way that things are looking in the fashion space right now, they need it. Zach Posen, if you're familiar, Zach Posen is a designer. He was also a judge on Project Runway for the longest time. I think he still is a judge on Project Runway, but he is currently the executive vice president and creative director of Gap, and also the chief creative officer of Old Navy. If that sounds like a lot of brands, it isn't, because they all live under the same umbrella. So Old Navy and Gap and Banana Republic are all owned by the same parent company. And more importantly, those brands that I mentioned are the ones who are normally driving the change and repositioning themselves in the fashion brand and in the market right now, Old Navy and Gap, because for years they were considered the go-to for a lot of, middle-class families in terms of style. But the rise of fast fashion with Shein, with Fashion Nova, with Temu, and all of them has kind of threatened the position of these middle-class affordable brands. But as the attitudes towards fast fashion has changed, brands like the Gap are exploring new ways of driving customer engagement. And one of those customer engagement includes smart collaborations like with Harlem Fashion Row. Okay, for our next story. Oh, I'm kind of excited about this one. All right. Our next story is all about Bath & Body Works unveiling their Princess collection. And I have props for this. Wait, I got it. Oh, wait, I just didn't get one. I got two, and I got the lip gloss. And if you ask, yes, it's Princess Tiana. I got all the Princess Tiana that I could put my hands on. Now, that $40 candle, I was not... She stayed right in the cart. I love you, girl, but $40 for a candle? No, ma'am. Oh, there's something wrong with me. But I got this story from PR Newswire. The blurb from the article reads, the collection features 6 brand new fragrances inspired by some of the most beloved Disney princess characters: Ariel, Belle, Cinderella, Jasmine, Moana, and Tiana. Bath & Body Works' most extensive collection yet, and consists of an array of products. It highlights icons from each of the characters' story, with prices ranging from $1.95 to $99.95. First of all, this is me being rude. I didn't even tell y'all how this smelled. Okay, let's read the front of the bottle. The Princess Tiana one, it smells like shea butter. See, I knew it would smell like shea butter. I said that on my TikTok video. Go ahead and look at that TikTok video if you want more. It smells like shea butter, hyaluronic acid, and it has 24-hour moisture, because you know we be getting ashy in the winter. Okay, it's hard out here in these streets. It also has vitamin E, aloe, and like I mentioned, shea cocoa butters and all the things. And it leaves skin feeling soft, smooth, and replenished. Well, let's see what the soft, smooth, and replenished is giving. Hold on. Oh, that smells good. Okay. Oh, I like the formula. It's a good, thick formula. That means you don't need a lot. You know what I mean? You know, other lotions, sometimes they're a little watery. We don't need water. We need that thick moisture. It feels soft. It's not like a greasy formula. That I really enjoy a lot. And then underneath here, they have a description for Tiana. Talented, passionate, dreamer. Love that. And then we also have, of course, the body wash. It has fragrance notes of water lily, gilded amber, and shimmering bayou woods. Okay, brand messaging. I see what you did there. Then the lip gloss. Now, hopefully I don't lose it, because I have an issue with losing lip glosses. So the collection is now in store. They did do a pre-sale for rewards members. And you know I jumped on that expeditiously when I got my email. The collection went live on February 16th. So it is available online. Check your local stores as well if you want to find it. But just note, the girly pops were heavy in their carts getting the things. So a few things to note from the article that I'm going to pull out to talk about. The scents, as I mentioned before, are curated to embody the princess's unique personalities, like Tiana. And also that rewards members had an opportunity to shop the collection before it launched. Now let's look into those key marketing takeaways, shall we? The smart collaboration between Bath & Body Works and Disney was freaking brilliant. And I love the fact that Bath & Body Works is building on nostalgia with the Disney princesses through this limited edition collection to drive sales. Now, Bath & Body Works has somehow continued to remain relevant in the space through their product offerings. You know, their candles, the annual sales, and now this collaboration they did with Bridgerton. I also have the Bath & Body Works Bridgerton candle. I have the Lady Danbury, darling. Lady Danbury. But those collections are smart things to keep their product top of mind. Essentially, brands like Bath & Body Works, or as other retailers similar to Bath & Body Works continue to struggle, this is smart because they're remaining adaptable while still keeping their products in the customer's mind. I can't tell you I will be the one to ignore an email when Bath & Body Works sends out a notification about their annual sale, because one thing to note, that even though Bath & Body Works sells similar products across the board to other retailers, right? They have somehow cornered the market in terms of having people think of them when it's time to go to, buy holiday gifts with their, they used to do the big baskets or the 3 or 4 piece sets. They now have the wall scents that have become very popular. During the pandemic, they were really pushing out so many different types of, hand soaps and antibacterial, and really leverage that market of something like clean, easy to use, that fit in your pocket with the purse-sized ones. So they have managed to still create demand in a space that has become very crowded. Now, I do note too, I appreciate the inclusivity that Bath & Body Works is trying to drive as well. They have in the past partnered with, chemists through their Heritage Month collections. Like they do one for Black History Month. I believe they did one for Hispanic Heritage Month as well. And partnering with chemists who reflect that culture that they identify with to create special limited edition candles that then go back to benefit a special scholarship fund that ties back into building that space in the fragrance and, science enterprise. Because if you did not know this type of product is essentially chemistry. It's essentially like product chemistry in which, they're creating like, lotions and scents and this, that, and the other. While it smells good, there's a science behind it. And knowing that Bath and Body Works is working to create equity and space for others to be included in that and feel themselves seen in that as well is very important. Well, now that I smell like cocoa butter and Princess Tiana, we're going to move into our final story. Our final story is about DJ Mustard. Oh, I just wanted to do that so bad. So, DJ Mustard and Heinz are collaborating for a specialized mustard, right? I got this from Heinz first from their social media because I saw the teaser drop, but then I did a little bit more digging and I found it on the Kraft Heinz press page. So for those who don't know, when you work in the industry space like marketing communications, whenever you have a big announcement like this or anything similar, you usually do what's called a press release. The press release includes high-level information that people need to know about the story or about the announcement. And then that same press release is used to push out to the media to give them a framework for how to build their story for their platform. So to pull out the blurb from the press release, we actually have a quote specifically from DJ Mustard about the collaboration with Heinz. He says, "This collab coming to life is a big deal and something that has been decades in the making for me. Everyone knows me for my beats and sound, but what they don't know is that cooking and grilling is a huge part of my life. I'm on the grill every chance I get. I've been using Heinz since I was a kid, so partnering with them is something I've always wanted to do." Now let me find out Heinz be on the grill for real. Okay, did he got the little did he got the Jesus sandals? You know the Jesus sandals that your unks and them be wearing, and then they got that one apron. I wonder if he has the fit. I wonder if they say DJ Mustard on the actual apron, or if it says something like more, corny, like, best cook in the world or something like that. Anyway, as I mentioned, the teaser announcement was launched via social media. And also, Catch T, did you know DJ Mustard's real name is Dijon? Yes, it is. I did not know the boy name is Dijon. Okay, this is like his mama knew when she was at the hospital. And she was like, I'm going to name my boy something different. I'm going to name him Dijon because I feel like there is greatness behind that name of Dijon. But anyway, Mustard will also serve as the first ever chief mustard officer. He will also work with the team to reimagine recipes, serve as a brand ambassador for events, and then also, their products will continue to launch once it officially launches in the summer. But this is the first start of the rollout for the campaign. So some key marketing takeaways. This is so brilliant. Oh my gosh. I just love when teams get creative with their brand collaborations. This is an alignment that makes sense while elevating visibility for the producer. More importantly, this can open space for additional opportunities in product and food marketing. Remember, I mentioned the blurb from the article. He has a passion for cooking and grilling. This will continue to elevate him in those spaces, more specifically around food marketing. Then for Heinz, they are reimagining the Heinz product while aligning with pop culture moments to drive sales. And also, there is a trend with companies giving content creators or like pop culture celebrities engaging titles that connect to their role. For example, Tabitha Brown, very good. Tabitha Brown, she was recently named as a Chief Empowerment Officer for Clover, a small business and credit card processing company. And also, this is smart for companies who are looking to go outside of the normal spaces where they find and source talent. Social media, again, has continued to be a place to leverage the playing field for allowing for people to step out and get noticed in spaces that they normally would not have a chance to get into because of the gatekeepers, or they're not considered the traditional person to promote for that business or brand's audience. I cannot wait to see what DJ Mustard and the Heinz team does with this collaboration. I'm very excited. I might even buy a couple just to support the brother. I wonder if they're going to be like blinged out, if they're going to like, reimagine the bottle. Like, are they going to put headphones on it somewhere or something like that? I can wait. I can wait. Well, those are all of our things for today. I know it was a short one, but remember, it's marketing magic in which we dive a little bit into the topics. But I hope you enjoyed today's chat. If you want to follow me on social media, no, not if, when you follow me on social media, don't forget to find me at Coffee with Yvonne on Instagram and Threads. You can sign up for my newsletter. It's a very short and easy and simple newsletter with personalized audio content and video content from Coffee with Yvonne, as well as additional marketing magic breakdowns that we don't cover on this episode. You can find that on Substack and also by visiting the show notes. If you would like my personal account where you get to find out more about me and my day-to-day life, you can find me at Yvonne_creative marketer on Instagram, on TikTok, aka the Clock app, as well as Fanbase. And then finally, to learn more about me and my business, go ahead and visit pinkdollhousemarketing.com, or you can find me on Instagram as well. You can slide into my DMs. That's cool. And I really appreciate you for listening to the show, coming back every week to join me for coffee. Remember to keep showing up, keep creating, and that voice, your voice in this space, in every space, matters. I cannot wait to chat with you soon. Okay, bye! Coffee with Yvonne is produced and edited by Yvonne Pearson. Coffee with Yvonne is created by Pink Doll House Marketing. You can catch the latest episodes by subscribing to Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.